could share a little bit more about Koreatown, the brand, like why
Yeah.
you
Uh,
started it, what
so
drove
really, it just kind of stems from going back to about 10 years ago when I moved to LA. So I'm originally from Virginia. Moved to LA just I mean, I was like 21 at the time. So just to like get my feet wet in like the entertainment industry. I wanted to come to LA and intern and learn the ropes and um, essentially later down the line like work for an entertainment company, right? And I fell into music in the music industry and then bounced around to entertainment and streetwear and worked in like a bunch of different industries. And what I learned from that was just how they interacted with their employees and their clients and just how they worked within their own world. And I took a step back and I was like, you know what, if I started my own thing, not only would they support me from all the people that I've met, but yeah, I just would have to do something on my own. And I felt like it was time to leave and make my mark. And I had this Instagram handle. It's called Koreatown.
Mhm.
At that time, it probably had like 200 followers. It was a private account. And I was like, you know what? I really want to own up to this. And I'm a Korean American, not from Los Angeles. So I have this whole other view of what Koreatown, Los Angeles is through my lens. I live in Koreatown. My mom's side of the family lives here. They've always lived here. And so visiting LA when I was a child, 5, 6 years old, I would stay with my grandma in Koreatown. And I just would remember as a kid that when I got to LA, it would just be I would walk the streets and it would just be people that looked like me, same skin color. We would eat the same type of foods, and I would tell my parents, I was like, this is crazy. They all look like me, and it's that they would just play it up, and they're like, yeah, you're in Los Angeles. So growing up, I just thought LA as a whole was just Asian people. So that really like did a big thing in my head. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna live in LA when I grow up, right? But later down the line, as I get older, I know it's like a different neighborhoods have different pockets in LA. But that immediately was my experience to Los Angeles and it felt like home. So I already knew at an early age I would one day live in LA on my own. And so I have this account, I'm starting it, and I was like, how do I make this a thing for myself, even though I'm not from LA? So it's really just being transparent and showcasing people, not only within the neighborhood, but telling their stories, um, getting to know my neighbors better, and being open to asking lots of questions about my own heritage that I don't know about, right? My own culture. So I'd have to let go of a piece of an ego with me in a sense of my Korean's not that great. I can't read or write Korean, and I have to learn and be open to learning and asking questions. So that's what I did when I first got to LA, and especially starting this account was ask all these questions, find out who you are, find out who they are, and like tell their story. So it started with food for me. And I'd post little food restaurants and like all this stuff, and this is what you're eating. And eventually would get like 100 likes. And when I got the first 100 likes, I knew from there it was gonna work. And I became obsessed with my neighborhood. I still live in Koreatown to this day. I've been in the same apartment for almost 9 years. And so I know this whole block and this whole radius of Koreatown. And it just became this thing of like learn something new every day, walk around the neighborhood, find something new, and like tell your friends. And eventually it caught on, right? And I started getting this, garnering this voice within the neighborhood. So if I told somebody to eat somewhere on the internet, they would go and eat there and they would tell me it was like a great place and a great experience. So with that in mind, I was like, this is awesome. I can do this in like a real positive way. So my friend from college, um, who I went to college with, he was like, hey, we should start a run club. And I was kind of like, sure, why not? Because at the time I was really craving like teamwork and camaraderie and like ownership and like um, just like relying on each other for like, to work out and be healthy, right? So I
Especially
post on the
all
Instagram.
the food, right?
Yeah, right. So
Like we're hitting up all the restaurants. We need to balance this out, you
there's like a funny dynamic to that. And
guys.
so we start this run club. I post on the internet, like, hey, we're running and we're gonna meet at the Line Hotel on Saturday. Me and Dewey are gonna do it together. And we would get all these text messages and phone calls. They're like, there's no way you're doing this. Like, are you kidding me? And I'm like, no, we're doing it, man. Come out and run. And we had like 5, 6 of our friends come out, which was plenty at the time. And then when 10:30 hit, out the door comes 20, 25 random people I've never met in my life, right? And we look at each other and we're like, oh man, like, what's going on? Like, this internet stuff's crazy. And at that time, I wasn't meeting up with people from the internet like that. I knew that was like a weird thing for me. And so meeting people in real life, it was really a great experience. And we ran our first maybe couple miles. We didn't know what we were doing. And then a couple of them asked us like, hey, when's the next run? And we're like, oh shit, like, you enjoyed this? Like, we looked at each other and we're like, oh man, like, I'm not a runner and I don't really enjoy it. But we looked at each other and we're like, shit. We're like, see you next week. So we said that same time next week, and we haven't missed one run, and it's been 5 years now.
Wow, that's amazing.
And around let's say year 3, Nike caught on and became a partner of ours, which is a huge help for us because they just help us with everything, and it just makes things easier. But so at that point, we were creating our own community within that run world, right? It's new to us. People are coming in and meeting new people every day from the neighborhood and hanging out with each other, and it's like great. And we're hearing these stories of like why they can come to Run Club and what it does for their life. And at that point, we're like, wow, this is way bigger than us. This is for them. And at that point, once we figured out we're building a community, we knew we could do something like this in a different industry. And later down the line, a friend of ours, Jimmy, who owns a few restaurants and bars in Koreatown, he approached us and was like, hey, I know what you're doing and you guys are great at it. Why don't you do the same thing in the food industry? And we were very hesitant. I've never worked in the day in a food industry, so I don't know anything. And I took a second. I was just like, damn, he's right. Like, why not take a stab at it? That's like the best part of like not knowing an industry and just going in there blind and doing it your way with no rules. So we did that. We thought of a concept. We thought of a name. We do burgers, and it's called Love Hour. And we did our first pop up that Monday, and we had 300 of our friends just line up around the block to try these burgers and see if it was even good. And once they realized it was good, it was just a huge thing. So by our 7th pop up we got a call from Coachella, and Coachella goes, hey, you guys got a crazy buzz right now. Why don't you come to Coachella both weekends and do burgers? And we did it. We killed it. It was the toughest thing we've ever done in our life. And that's when the ball was rolling. It's just been a roller coaster ride. We've been doing it now for 2.5 years. Mm-hmm. And between us, we're now building out our brick and mortar in Koreatown. So we're really excited about that.
How did the Koreatown brand come to play in all of this?
So it's all tied together, right?
Okay.
So like, and the third final thing is, this past year we started a outreach program called Bicycle Meals, and it's just feeding our homeless, our unhoused neighbors within the neighborhood. We're up to 3 days a week now, so we just pack lunches and pass them out on our bikes 3 times a week. That's been really a great experience for us because it's still DIY. Mm-hmm. We just get our friends together. It's like a small group of like 7 people, and we do it 3 times a week because we really enjoy it. And then, so the Koreatown brand, this is where you guys really come in. So I've been doing these hoodies, these crew necks, mm-hmm. right? It was the top of right when COVID started. I told myself I would start doing merch. So I started the first hoodie, and me not being from Los Angeles, um, and not having ownership in Koreatown. I'm just a kid that lives in Koreatown, right? And I love my neighborhood. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do a hoodie for people, but I have to have some kind of nonprofit attached to it. That way, at least I'm giving back, right? And it feels like I am giving back. And I would do a lot of research on nonprofits in the neighborhood. And the first one we did was with KYCC. They had no idea. I didn't know anybody there, and um, I just put an Instagram out. I already made the hoodies. I said I'm going to donate a portion of proceeds to them, and people bought it, and then we donated, and it became this thing of like, you know what? I'm just going to donate every time we do a hoodie or a crew neck to a nonprofit, and it's going to just benefit our neighborhood, right? Um, so that's like the merch, and that's the brand side, right? And we do drops. I would say once a month or so.
Mhm.
And then this past couple weeks. So what happened was I wake up in the morning. My friend gives me a text message and he's like, take a look at this. So it's Forever 21 that did this with a t-shirt,
Mhm.
same font. And I go, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I come from the streetwear industry, so I know, fast fashion and everything like that. And I know Forever 21 is notorious for just taking things and making it their own, which, hey, they're a big company, do your thing. I'm flattered, and I bought a shirt. I was so stoked about it. And then I go, you know what? I have to say something because there's just so much support from everyone. So I put a post up. They spam their account for like 3 straight days. They're just like attacking them. And it was crazy. And then one of the biggest like call out Instagrams picked the story up. It's called Diet Prada, and they just like basically make things go viral. And they did a huge story on how Forever 21 took like a community based thing where we give back to the community, and it's not right. It's not okay. So once they posted it, I knew right then and there it was like this thing was going to be a thing. And I get hundreds of text messages and hundreds of calls, and they're like, check Diet Prada right now. And I checked it, and I was very like, oh no, this is not what I wanted to happen. But it happened, and they were so responsive, and they were so like ready to like apologize and do the right thing. And they emailed me the next day, and the email said, we are so sorry for doing this. What do we have to do to make things right? And literally we got on a call that Friday, and the call was super simple. They were super apologetic. I was like, it's all good. I'm not upset. This is what I want to happen. Take it out of the stores, take it out of online, which they did.
Mhm.
And then I go, here are 5 nonprofits that I care about or know about. And I just want you to donate to each one. So I said 20K each in a total of 100K. And they didn't blink an eye. They were like, okay, that's it. That's all you want. And that was it. So how I found out about your organization is I'm in an email thread through your you guys give out lunches, or I guess you guys give out a food pay. You guys do a food pantry, correct?
Yeah, every Saturday.
So I found about your food pantry. That's how I found about you guys.
Mhm.
So I go, I just want people that are doing food pantries or giving out food to the homeless or elderly or whoever, just giving out food. I want them to have the money. And
Mhm.
that's how I thought of you guys and the other organizations. And it's amazing that the little guy can win in this situation. But I give him so much credit for just trying to make things right.
Yeah, and I see the theme. You started off with food and you ended with food.
Right.
Food and community somehow goes together
I,
all the time, right?
yeah, the food is like the heart to everything, right? But yeah, just continuing to just make merch right now, and and still donating to other causes, and trying to get the word out about their organizations and what they do, and hopefully they get more volunteers. But just trying to do my part within the neighborhood of just being a resident, and
Yeah. Like you said, you want to leave your stamp, right?
Yeah, and it's just been super fun. I get my friends involved and I get brands involved, and I tell them, hey, there's this neighborhood that exists, and like we could do amazing things that benefits everyone. Um, and I just hope to continue to do that.
Yeah, definitely. So, any upcoming projects or anything like that that you got going on anytime soon?
I'm just very low key, but the hoodies are once a month. The benefit a nonprofit. But other than that, it's just being really consistent with Run Club. We run 4 times a week, and then Love Hour Burgers, we do it 3 times a week, 4 times a week right now.
Hmm.
And we're building out a brick and mortar right now. And then bicycle meals we continue to do, and we just want to add more days with that. Um, but yeah, just right now being consistent with everything that we do, like projects for the neighborhood. But it would be cool to make a new project pretty
Yeah,
soon. Yeah.
definitely. And I feel like the more community that comes together, the stronger that we can be, and the more change that we can make, the impact we can have. So I definitely would look forward to you coordinating something with ICSC. I don't know.
100%. That would be awesome. I was talking with everyone that volunteers for us at Bicycle Meals, and we just want to be able to just have so many new friends and so many new resources where we all just come together, like you just said. And no, I look forward to doing more things with you guys in the future for sure.